Hey guys, Doc Storm here again with you today. So I've been asked a lot, hey guys, Doc, can you make a video on how to counter spawner decks? Well guys, to be honest, I've been looking for spawner opponents, but it has been very difficult to find any up in higher arena levels. Why I think that is because of the princesses that are very common now in arena 6, 7, and 8. They counter spawner decks quite well, same as the Ice Wizard. So that's why I think you don't see too many of them. But finally, I have encountered a opponent with a spawner deck. So let me show you guys how that works. So it's a spawner and miner deck with the princess and mini P.E.K.K.A. So let's take a look here. So one move what I like to do these days is if I don't have the elixir collector, I wait till my opponent plays a card and then I rush the other side of the lane with my Hog Rider. One way is, well, I don't really have a better play to move. I rather save my other units to defend, and also my Hog Rider a lot of times reveals quite a few things about my opponent's deck. So here I rush with my Hog Rider. And this start is not good because the mini P.E.K.K.A. really is great at countering my Hog Rider, and then also they're going for a push. The reason why I had to play that cannon there was just to block out the princess, or else the princess would have shot my skeletons down and the mini P.E.K.K.A. would have went straight for my tower, so that wouldn't have been good. So the cannon was literally just a block there for the princess. Now the cannon could have been placed a little bit higher, so I didn't need my musketeer to go and finish the princess, so the cannon would have engaged her. But you know what? It was fine. It did the trick. So now that I have my elixir collector, it's great. I play it and my opponent reveals that he has a hut spawner. So with goblins, well, with any spawner decks, it's a good thing I have my poison. But now one bad thing with my current deck right now is my poison spell is only level 3. So it is almost 2 epic levels under leveled compared to my opponent's level 9 commons. So it does still do the trick a bit, but not as well. So it is a little bit tough. But as you can see, it's not a problem. The cannon actually in the middle really helps defend the hut decks quite well. And when you have an opportunity, you always have to rush to clear out some of the spawns so that they don't accumulate, because that's when it's scariest for spawner decks, is when they accumulate. So try to prevent them from doing that. And every time that they gain elixir advantages with the huts, you also have to regain it with your elixir collector or like another hut if you play hut decks. So never fall behind an elixir. So the great thing is I do have my Valkyrie. Paired up with my Valkyrie, they do go for a pretty good push. Now here, because my opponent laid a Barbarian hut, uses a lot of elixir, so I am pushing that other side of the lane for some damage here. And it is kind of successful. And as well, I'm always keeping an eye on the other side as well that they're pushing. Now the zap again back then was just so I can get another hit off with my Hog Rider. So here again, I'm trying to push that other side of the lane because you never want to go full force with their side of the lane, especially because there's not a lot of time left. And then there, that zap just helped my Hog Rider gain that last hit to get the win. So just to recap a few strategies here when you're facing spawner decks is, well, one, if you have fireballs or poison spells, try to use them effectively for an effective trade. What I mean by that is, well, you try to damage their tower. You try to at least get one hut, and if you can, even some other units. So for example, sometimes with decks like this, you can get the tower, the hut, and perhaps like a princess. Now that's a very excellent trade. So in a way, you have to sometimes wait for those effective trades before you put down the poison spell. And another thing is, when opponents play a hut down, they actually commit a lot of elixir on that hut. So what you could do is take advantage of that to try to push the other side of the lane a little bit better, because that way if your opponent defends, well, that's great because it splits their troops into half, so it's better for you to deal with. Or if they don't defend, even better, you take that tower down. So it is a bit tricky when you play spawner decks without, like, for example, having a princess or a ice wizard. But it is definitely doable. It just takes a little bit more effort and concentration in terms of timing and when you want to push, when you don't want to push, when you need to defend, and when you have to take a lane. So there you have it. And as a bonus, guys, for today's video, I want to show you well, one of the decks that I just played against, and why this made it extra interesting was this opponent gave me 42 trophies, which is kind of rare up at this level, but let's see how I did that here. So it is a Sparky Giant deck. You guys see that a lot with the Ice Wizard. So here we go. So again, I don't have an Elixir Collector, so I wait till my opponent plays something and I immediately rush the other side of the lane with my Hog Rider. So here it reveals he has an Ice Wizard, so in the back of my mind I'm like, maybe my opponent doesn't have a defensive building, which is important with my Hog Rushes, because if they did have like a cannon, I would have to pair it with a Musketeer or something else to help my Hog Rider. So here, the skeleton is just to take down the Ice Wizard so it doesn't do too much damage to my tower. Sometimes I just leave the Ice Wizard be, but not in this case. So again here, another good example of the poison spell gaining a huge advantage. It killed the princess, damaged the Elixir Collector, and also the tower. Now here my opponent revealed a Sparky and a Giant. So here I play the cannon down because my Elixir was full, and it will help me defend these two units. Now also I play my Musketeer at the back again to help defend. Now I know here my only defense at that time was pretty much my Zap to reset the counter of Sparky, which did a really good job. The skeletons, I placed it to kill the Giant instead because he had that Ice Wizard next to the Sparky, so I didn't want to risk that. And here I play my Hog for a counterattack with my Musketeer that was left over, because for decks like his, they do run a little bit high on Elixir, so what you could do is definitely take advantage, keeping in mind what Elixir your opponent just used. So there, that was a very good counter push there. And here I play the poison spell because I get to damage against 3 of his structures, which to me is well worth it, and I had full Elixir. So here, usually I wait till my opponent plays, but again, he hasn't played anything and I knew I had an Elixir advantage. So here I'm just pushing him a little bit harder, trying to go for a little bit of a damage, and I am getting a lot of damage with my Musketeer there, so it was well worth it. So full Elixir again, I might as well play my Elixir Collector, help me store some Elixir. And again, I play my cannon there because I needed to wait. So the poison spell is great because it's damaging quite a lot of targets again. My Zap, I'm waiting here till the Sparky gets closer so that I waste more of its time before I zap it. So again here, my Musketeer's alive, my Valkyrie's alive, so excellent time for a counter push with my Hog. And they did a really good job here. So again, because I am ahead quite a bit, I want to play it safe. I play the Elixir Collector down instead of the poison spell there to damage their units a little bit. And again, rinse and repeat. I put the cannon there just to wait and stall a little bit more. Put my Musketeer at the back so it takes time for her to walk up, again stalling. And then the skeletons there just to waste the charge of the Sparky, and also making sure I have my Zap spell ready in case I need it for the Sparky. But as you can see, the time is over. So again guys, with Sparky decks, they're all very similar. They usually build up at the back, usually with a tank like a Giant, even Royal Giant. I've seen it with Knights, and then they follow it up with maybe minions, like you see here, an Ice Wizard, something to support it. So, but they're very similar in terms of countering them. You really have to stay calm and be very smart at what units you play. For example, for me, in the back of my mind, I had skeletons and Zap to counter the Sparky, so I had to hold on to those to save it for when I need it, when the Sparky rushes over. And then just deployment and placement of your units so that you know, it doesn't get zapped by the Sparky before your units do anything. So again guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for more. And clash on guys, thank you all for your support. I really appreciate it. Until next time.